Hello, everyone. Here I am making another video, talking to myself so I can talk to you. And this time about a little bit about photography and what I've learned since 20 years ago when I first found that I was in love with taking pictures. A few years after that, I think around 2008 or 9, I took a class on bird photography. And this was in Massachusetts on Plum Island at the Parker River Nature Interpretive Center. Excellent professor or teacher who left me with 3 very important ideas that have helped me develop my photography over the years. The first was that you do not need very expensive equipment to take very good pictures. You need to spend some money, but not tons of money. So what I use most often is a Nikon camera. It doesn't have to be Nikon, but I like this one. It's a Nikon D7100. And I'm fortunate enough that I also have a D40, which is what I had before this one. Since I have a place I go to in Massachusetts and stay for a while, I wanted to have a camera there, and I didn't want to take the chance of it being damaged as I took my camera back and forth. So this is the camera I use. It was around $600 7 years ago. So it's a bit of money, but it's not going to break the bank if you want to take good pictures. And I did invest in a telephoto lens. This is a Tamron, and it's a 150 to 600 millimeter telephoto lens. And it was reasonable, and it has produced some very, very good results. So that's just a little bit on equipment. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the other things I learned from that instructor that I've carried forward. The second one is that it's important to get as much of the bird, when you're taking bird pictures, in the frame as you can. So you want it to fill out the frame. You'll get the most detail on the bird, the feathers, the eye rings, the feet, the beak. And birds are beautiful, so you want as much detail as possible. But it's really a wonderful presentation if you also show something of the bird's habitat. Otherwise, it is a portrait, and portraits of birds are lovely. We have them in most of our calendars, and you'll see a lot of them on Instagram, where it's just the bird and the background is all a single color, or maybe it's a blurry background. And there's nothing wrong with bird portraits. I have one in our book, which I really love. This is Just Outside Your Window by Donna Marie Bailey and myself. I would call this a bird portrait. The main stuff of this picture is the birds. These are pintails, and it's a couple. And pintails do mate for life, so it was sort of apropos of the essay Love in the Time of COVID, which quotes the Apache wedding blessing. So that's why we used that one. And I like this picture a lot, but there are others I like more because it shows bird behavior. So we'll get into that too. The third thing I learned from this instructor was that it takes patience, and I would add a good deal of luck to really get good pictures, and you have to stay with it. You really have to care about capturing that. It has to some degree to be an obsession with you, unless you have a blind. You live in a place where you can have a blind and you can sit for hours, and even then it takes a lot of patience. So, and actually I would say there was a fourth point, and that is that you can use your own backyard to get lots of beautiful nature pictures. People often think they have to travel, and even a lot of birders think they have to travel to see the birds they want to see. And that may be true if you're somebody who does a big year or something, but if you're a photographer of birds, you like all birds from sparrows to eagles, and they are you're likely to have some in your backyard. So that in fact leads me to describing this picture, which I love very much, which was in our book next to the essay, Don't Underestimate Forgiveness. The thing I like about this is that it captures the bird. There's lots of detail. His eye has the reflection of, it looks like a galaxy in it, like the one in Men in Black, the little tiny galaxy. And it has his beak and his eye ring so clear. But it also, this is a wood pewee, Western wood pewee. This was in California, I took this. And he's on a tree branch. They often sit motionless on the top of a tree or within a tree looking for things to eat. And he's doing what he does best. And so it's almost a bird portrait, but yet he looks like a wild bird. You know, he's wild. He's not going to stay around forever, and he'll leave. He's not interested in the human being taking his picture. And so I felt very lucky. I did use the zoom lens to get him, even though it was through the window, because I needed to get close to him. And if I'd actually gotten this close to him, he would have been gone. So that's an interesting backyard bird. I also wanted to share with you a bird outdoors. So this is on a walk along Scenic Road in Carmel, right along the ocean. These are shallows next to the rocks. And it's a great egret who has just caught a fish. And you can see that he's got a splash of the fish next to his beak. If I had zoomed in more, I could have gotten more detail on his beak, on his eye, and on his wing. But I wanted the reflection. I'm partial to reflections in photographs. And I also wanted the wing spread to show quite dramatically in this picture. This was coupled with an essay on holding on to your own power, and I thought it spoke to this. This is called Hang On to Your Basketball, which was written by Donna. Then another one that I wanted to do in terms of action, this is coupled with, it's all in the action, is the merganser taking off. So here again, I wanted to get the wake that the bird was creating. Some ducks take off right from the water. They just zoop right up in the air. Others take a while, like this bird, this duck, and also buffleheads don't take off quickly either. And they create this beautiful design. So I wanted the design in the water. I wanted the duck's reflection again. But I also was able to achieve with the zoom lens some detail on the wings and the eye, which you'll see better when you buy the book. Now, another one that I wanted to show you is totally different. So sometimes, even though the bird is the main character in a photograph, there's more of a composition with the habitat around the bird. And that is more abstract, perhaps, in this photograph than in some others. This photograph was paired with, Do You Think I'm Being Selfish? So there's a lot of self-evaluation or self-examination in the essay about what is selfish. So I thought this composition matched that well. When you first look at this, you might not even see the great blue heron, and they're very large, but you might not even see him in the shallows of the river basin here. Now, if I had zoomed in on him, I would have had probably an excellent picture of a great blue heron. But what I wanted was the juxtaposition of the golden marsh grass, the golden grasses there on those two peninsulas, and then the pale green and the tan of the sand dune right in the foreground. So you finally come up to this bird that's in there. He's not a plant, he's a bird. And as people do, you tend to think, what is he thinking? Or you tend to say, well, maybe he's saying, this is all mine. This is my territory. And that's just the way it is. Or he might be saying, I'm alone here, but I'm okay with that. You may have your own interpretation, but without the composition, without the context for the bird in this case, it would be a lot less interesting photograph. So I hope you get some ideas from this today, and perhaps apply them to your own photography if that's what you do, or if you're just starting out, maybe the ideas that my instructor had will be helpful to you. So until next time, thank you for listening, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.